Hi. So this video is going to be kind of all over the place. We're going to talk about some healing stuff. We're going to talk about kind of the energies that's going on and some goddess downloads. I like to do it. So since we start with vibration, I want to really go into that because when it comes to somatic healing, tapping, humming, singing, breath work, what is happening? What's happening in your body? Why does it work? Why do these things work? Well, if you have a chance, if you have a bathtub or even in the shower, and even if you feel like you don't have a voice or you don't can't sing, I just want to say I used to think that about myself, and there was a person in my life that I met in Alaska who was like, everyone could sing, and I believed them. And I would start singing around my cat at the time, and they would just like light up, and I could sing horribly and they would just be so happy. And I'd always felt like animals have a direct connection to God. And this is when I still thought God was male predominantly. And I could see like all the I would just say like joyful beings, or you know, where I could say angels, or just beings around, and even ancestors, just being so delighted to hear. Like, it's kind of like when you hear a baby, you know, making all the weird noises, like, even though sometimes they like that real high pitch, you shock you a little bit, you're ecstatic to hear it because it's their voice, right? It's just, and it's they're communicating with you. So we all have a voice. We all can sing. So the reason why I'm saying that is, so if you get in the shower and you sing, or in the bath, you'll feel the vibration. This is why singing bowls work. This is why sound works. You know, it's repeated over and over, and we hear it in scripture, and we hear it. It's just, so if you think about it, when you're tapping, what are you doing? You're sending a vibration through your body. When you're humming, sending vibration through your body. When you're listening to singing bowls, there's vibration through your body. When you're listening to music, there's vibration through your body. So this is why it can work. This is why I have said it before in older videos. Your voice isn't tampered with. Your voice is at the pitch it needs to be for your body, for whatever you're going through. And there are some things that happen in the body that may restrict the vocal cords. And so we will see this with people who are either mute or deaf, where you see percussion or vibration outside of, or even they use vibration to communicate. This is how powerful vibration is. So when we say raise your vibration, I sometimes feel like, I will say this for me personally, with what I now understand is neurodivergent, magical autism type of mind. When I hear raise your vibration, and also, you know, I'm working through a lot of, you know, trauma. I've worked through a lot of trauma. It's a better way to say it. In recognizing that. So when I would hear that, it would almost make me feel bad when I wasn't feeling good, or wasn't feeling like, let's go have a party and dance around and keep my vibration lifted all the time. Like, I think that got traded in for like positive toxicity, or just like false positivity. So when I think about that, like tapping and singing and humming and singing bowls, it's just a vibration that can definitely shift how you feel, right? So, but it doesn't erase your, like, it's almost as if something is, I mean, we say resonate and vibrate. These are, I believe these are basically the same meaning, because rosin up the bow, resonate. How did we acquire that word? Is that another mental compensation word? So we'll just stick with vibration for now. But I think we compensate vibration with resonate. You vibrate with that, you have good vibes, bad vibes. So there are definitely sounds that can make you feel uncomfortable, right? So what I'm saying is, like, vibration is vibration, and how we connect with it, or how we feel when we feel the vibration or hear the vibration, is then what we interpret into, like, whether we resonate with it or not. So I think there's another way to say, not another way to say, but incorporate the idea of knowledge of vibration to assist with shifting patternings and helping to, because overall that's really what we're doing. If we can shift the patterning, then the vibration then becomes maybe a higher octave, because we definitely see that with planets. And I can feel that. I can sense a self difference with different musics and different practices. So this is why we do the humming, the before and after. Not so much to, like, influence you, but mostly to just remind myself how important it is to remember to, well, share that about our voices and sound. And for myself, and for those who might, you know, be wondering how to shift certain things, because from what I've learned, like, we can hum away pain. You know, it's another it's like ether, because vibration isn't always tangible. Okay, all right, so that just came through. That's kind of fun. All right, and then, okay, so I did a little video about what's going on, but oh, okay, so I've also done videos a long time ago, so I'm kind of bringing this back around, but speaking about the Indigenous, the true American peoples, and the link back to what are called the ancient sibyls, or prophetesses, and I say the great mothers of time. That's what it, great mothers of invention. And how there will be links back to the great mothers of these said deities, clans and tribes and peoples. And we see this again. What brought me to this also is the figurine of the Venus, what is called the Venus, which is it's an artifact that has been found all around the world. This is also what makes me think we were, you know, the earth is stretches or moves. I mean, and if we're, side note, if we're on a flat planet, how would things move apart? I think I've thought about that before, but anyways, because I just think we have a lot to learn, and that there is someone probably, or some people somewhere that know the truth about the planet. So anyways, back to what I was saying. All around the world, this goddess shaped artifact all around the world, often standing. So this is the oldest, supposedly the oldest. Well, there's so many older things. There are a lot of older things. And some of those things they depict like a being outside of this realm that brought in children, right? The being outside of this realm, it is feminine. Okay. So ultimately, my theory is it all goes back to the feminine. And I theorize, and I've been downloaded, that like the great Olmec heads, they're going to discover those were formed for females. They're going to find that like Quetzalcoatl and a lot of the Mayan gods that would have been called male gods were female gods, because there were women with beards. There still are women who can grow beards. And that there are, we see it in some of the ancient cultures where women will wear a beard and men will wear like long hair and put breasts on to represent the energies of male and female. So okay, so recently, because I've been doing, I'll be honest, I'm kind of at a I don't know where else to go. I need to do some more, but I've been doing research on my own genealogy to find my clan. I theorize that most of the peoples that are on the East Coast were before that originally on the West Coast, and I think a lot of the peoples that were on the East Coast were originally like islanders and from the South Americas, and I think they all spread out. But isn't it interesting? They've recently found Mayan, Egyptian type, I won't include the Egyptian type, but Mayan artifacts in Mississippi and language links. Well, the language links have been there for a long time. They're not going to tell everybody that. I have a theory that the California and the Khalifa Indians were moved through the Panama during like the Spanish and all the, you know, the Dutch and the Italian War. Then I base a lot of this after researching the San Diego Zoo and how there was a like 60-year, 600-acre World Fair. What? We know, and we're now understanding like what World Fairs really were. They were military operations. Anyhow, and it does say that, like, at least it did. I don't know if that information will still be out there, but anyways. And they talked about how that was around the time they started building the Panama Canal. But even if there wasn't a canal, it was only a small strip of land, and we already know that peoples would, you know, ship there, walk over it, which would take something like 3 days or 3 weeks, or I can't remember, to get to the other side, and then have ships there, right? Or boats, because we didn't have ships until later. Like, is that true though? Because of the Phoenicians, and we look at like the islanders build, well, they were boats. Anyhow, that's my theory, because selfishly, because of my own dreams and magical happenings that have happened in California. I mean, magical things have happened in other places, but nothing like what I've experienced in California. And I have this weird, like, connection to the soil there. It's just, and I think that, and I used to wonder, like, how am I so connected to somewhere that I'm not originally from? And this is as a kid, right? So, researching the indigenous side of my family, possibly, and coming across some things. And I've studied and am re-emerging into studying the Orishas and some of the ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses. So the first one that came through was Yamasi and Yamanya. Yamasi and Yamanya. Has more information about that. That would be great to share. Then I was, so the reason why Yamasi popped up for me, so these are the indigenous tribes that I may or may not be linked to. Selfishly, I want to be linked to the Khalifa tribes because of California and Khalifa, and just that there's something there. However, it's possible that I'm Creek and or Yamasi and or Wampanoag. Okay. The most common that I've seen is Creek, and it would make sense for where that side of my family says they're from. However, one of them did say Northern Indian, so that's very vague, and I would guess that would link to the Sioux or the Iroquois. I don't know, because so many things have been rewritten. So I'm looking, because there's also there's links with the Creek and there's links with the Northern Indians. So I was just kind of doing some thought, some theorizing, and it started with Anput, because my theory is that Anput, or Anubis, as most people know her, links back to, okay, Wajet and Wapanet. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I did some research on Wapanet, and then I said it out loud, and then I was like, wait a second, okay, because they have just, so in more recent times they have discovered that Anubis, which they had originally attributed to the jackal, was actually related to the wolf, and that there used to be wolves in Africa, but they're saying in Egypt, but they're saying that wolves originated from over here. And I've been saying that Akhenaten, I either read this somewhere or I got the download, that Akhenaten was originally from the Americas and brought the indigenous ways of the Americas to Egypt, or that his mother was. So Wampanet also looks like a wolf, and then Wampanet there is a link. So Wampanet and Wajet are considered the same deity. And the story is that Ra took his eye and created Wajet, or Wapanet, right? And that's why the original eye was actually Wajet's eye, the eye of Wajet. But now it's called the eye of Ra, but one is left and one is right. And I believe the left side is Wajet and the right is Ra. However, it could be the other way around. So, Wapanet and Wampanoag. And then there's one more. So there is an Egyptian god, Hapi. H-A-P-I. And if I remember correctly, Hapi was a god of, I want to say valleys. I'm on my phone. I wish I was on the computer just for this second. And somewhere, I'll have to relook this up, but I thought there was a link between Happy of the Egyptian pantheon and the Hopis of the Americas. And I can't remember what it was. I can't remember if it's a story about the sun or that deity, what it might represent, but it's been a long time. But I just thought this was interesting that we have Yamasi and Yamana. And then we have Wampanoag and Wampanet. And then we have the Hopi and Happy. Is this... Do you see where I'm going here? I hope you all see where I'm going here. So that download came through. Because, I mean, we're talking about, like, California was named for Queen Khalifa, or Chief Khalifa. Why? That's the other thing. Well, we won't go into that. But I already know the answers. Anyways, I want to reestablish what I believe she truly was, which was the chief of the peoples of Khalifa. And that, well, wait, I want to take a pause, because aren't chief and chef spelled the same way? No, I think I have something wrong here. Anyhow, Chief Queen Khalifa, I mean, my theory goes back to most places and peoples are named after the great mothers. So then why wouldn't this would equate to, like, all of them as well? And okay, and I find, so on one of my live videos we were talking about Hebrew, and if something ends in the sound ah, it is predominantly female, like Mosiah, which would be how you are correctly supposed to pronounce Moses. So we say Moses, it's supposed to be Mosiah. And just like how we mispronounce Breed's name, instead of saying Breed and the G is silent, we say Bridget, right? So this is how things get changed. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there, because what? So wouldn't that mean, like, Jeremiah, Hezekiah, all the peoples in the scriptures who end with were actually females? I mean, we have names like Leslie for men, Alexandra for women. When did we decide that these were, because there's like David, Goliath, Saul, although I think Paul was Paula, is my theory. And when did we switch to more easy names, from names like that are in the beginning of Genesis? Because it sounds to me like the traditional ways of most namings are to be named after something, or named after someone, or named after an event, or named after, like, oh my goodness. So just a interesting thought that's come up, because Messiah, I just find it interesting. I mean, Elizabeth is in there, but isn't it Elizabetha? Sarah? Well, and Jezebel was named after a town, or the town was named after her. So is that even her real name? Because, anyways, I digress. Well, I'm not really digressing, but I'm just thinking about that. How we've kind of recognized that. So anyways, I mean, I have a lot of theories about the stories we've been told over and over and over. I mean, look at slavery. That was embedded in us. And now we're all realizing, like, what? Well, some of us before others, but, and that's just, okay. We don't have to get into that. It's shifting. It's all shifting. It's all shifting. It's all shifting. Truths are coming out. Okay. And then, so the major download of recently, is the goddess energy. So the feminine divine has been here, and from what I understand, this happened when either in like 2012 or 2013. Let's see. 5. Yeah, 6. I think 2013. Right? 2, 1, 3. Yeah. 6. Okay. That, like, the feminine energy was like, okay, bam, I'm here. I'm gonna, my energy is gonna start, you know, spreading throughout the world. Like, solid. It's always been here, but like the rising energy. And then now we're in the time where, you know, people are, like I've already said, people are recognizing, talking about the Great Mother, you know. So the download I'm allowed to share is that in about 2 years, yeah, 2 to 3 years, 2 years, what is 2 years? We're in 2023, 24, 25, okay, that is a 7. No, this year's a 7. Yeah, 2 years would be a 9. Interesting. So in about 2 years, so yes, when we reach the 9, the feminine 9 in the, you know, Gregorian calendar year, 2026, no, 2027, what year are we? 23, 24, 25, 2025, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yes, 2025, the feminine divine will be, we will see the major difference. So what we're going to see in the next 2 years is a lot of masculine, because this is what was needed. This is what was needed to help the shift. We're masculine who were already in tune with the feminine divine in a way that they could support her. So I did say this in another video, and I'm going to say it again. We're going to see more men, more masculine divines supporting the feminine divine dialogue and allowing the woman to speak, allowing her knowledge to really settle in without conflict, without discrimination, because it will be from the woman. And then as for the next few years, we're going to see things kind of as chaos can do, as darkness can do, things crumbling or being teared down, or the veil being lifted, where we actually see truths, or we see the truths about peoples. And but all the while is like the steady climb of the divine feminine, the divine feminine. So what will that bring? What will we see a little bit more of? As I said before, equanimity. Those who have created ways to help clean the planet, to help communicate in ways that we used to, like with animals and plants and trees, and just really simplistic healing, will be also uplifted and shared and made available. And we will see So what's very interesting is, okay, I can say this. This planet has been here for so long. And she is resilient. He is resilient. The being of this life-supporting spaceship, whatever we're on, maybe we're on some God's back, maybe, I don't know, but is very, 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 very ancient. And if there's nothing new under the sun, that means there's nothing new even for this planet.